Welcome to Focus Group Limited webinar series, and here are the news headlines. Focus Group Limited continues its webinar series with episode 5. Focus Group Limited set to launch Workplace Pay. Focus Group Limited set to launch Kira Study App. Focus Group celebrates a significant 10 years with its anniversary dinner set to hold. Kira University Hackathon is confirmed to take place as part of the app launch. Focus Group is hosting a friendly football match in celebration of its 10 years anniversary. Let's get into it. Here's what's happening at Focus Group Limited. Focus Group Limited's 8-part webinar series continues with episode 5. Building a technology culture without a technology background. Currently underway, the session brings together industry leaders and professionals to share practical insights on fostering innovation and technology adoption regardless of technical expertise. As part of its commitment to driving digital transformation and empowering businesses, Focus Group Limited is preparing to launch Workplace Pay. This is an innovative solution designed to enhance workplace productivity, streamline processes, and create greater value for organizations. Group Limited webinar series, and here are the news headlines. Focus Group Limited continues its webinar series with episode 5. Focus Group Limited set to launch Workplace Pay. Focus Group Limited set to launch Kira Study App. Focus Group celebrates a significant 10 years with its anniversary dinner set to hold. Kira University Hackathon is confirmed to take place as part of the app launch. Focus Group is hosting a friendly football match in celebration of its 10 years anniversary. Let's get into it. Here's what's happening at Focus Group Limited. Focus Group Limited's 8-part webinar series continues with episode 5. Building a technology culture without a technology background. Currently underway, the session brings together industry leaders and professionals to share practical insights on fostering innovation and technology adoption regardless of technical expertise. As part of its commitment to driving digital transformation and empowering businesses, Focus Group Limited is preparing to launch Workplace Pay. This is an innovative solution designed to enhance workplace productivity, streamline processes, and create greater value for organizations and individuals alike. Focus Group Limited is also preparing to launch the Kira Study App. This is an AI-powered study companion designed to accelerate learning by transforming your notes, textbooks, and lectures into interactive study materials. Kira enhances student study sessions with the power of AI. Innovation takes center stage with the upcoming Kira University Hackathon, where participants will compete with each other for the grand prize. The hackathon is designed to enlighten students on the Kira Study App, as well introduce fun into the learning process. As Focus Group Limited marks its 10th anniversary, we are excited to celebrate this milestone with our community, partners, clients, and stakeholders who have been part of our journey. a special anniversary dinner will be hosted to bring together distinguished guests, partners, and members of the focus group community to reflect on a decade of growth, innovation, and impact while looking ahead to the future. And finally, in the spirit of teamwork, wellness, and celebration, a friendly football match will be organized as part of the anniversary activities, providing an opportunity for networking and camaraderie beyond the workplace. That's all for now. Thank you for listening. Welcome to Focus Group Limited webinar series. Focus Group Limited continues its webinar series with episode 5. Focus Group Limited set to launch Workplace Pay. Focus Group Limited set to launch Kira Study App. Focus Group celebrates a significant 10 years with its anniversary dinner set to hold. Kira University Hackathon is confirmed to take place as part of the app launch. Focus Group is hosting a friendly football match in celebration of its 10 years anniversary. Let's get into it. Here's what's happening at Focus Group Limited. Focus Group Limited's 8-part webinar series continues with episode 5. Building a technology culture without a technology background. Currently underway, the session brings together industry leaders and professionals to share practical insights on fostering innovation and technology adoption regardless of technical expertise. As part of its commitment to driving digital transformation and empowering businesses, Focus Group Limited is preparing to launch Workplace Pay. This is an innovative solution designed to enhance workplace productivity, streamline processes, and create greater value for organizations and individuals alike. Focus Group Limited is also preparing to launch the Kira Study App. This is an AI-powered study companion designed to accelerate learning by transforming your notes, textbooks, and lectures into
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I don't know where you're joining us from this morning. I can see quite a number of persons here. I can see the CEO of Focus Group, Mr. Simon Agi. Thank you all for joining. I don't know where you're joining from this morning, but in the chat box, kindly drop where you're joining from this beautiful Thursday morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's beautiful to have you all here this morning. Good morning. Thank you, Margaret. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Damilola Omosain. Good morning. Today's a beautiful day. We're having a legend with us today. And it's such a huge privilege to have him on this 5th webinar series of the Focus Group webinar. Right. I can see somebody saying from Lagos. Where in Lagos are you joining from? Let's know where you're joining us from in Lagos. Good morning, Juliet Moses. Good morning, Blessing. I can see Joktam Daniel. Good morning. Wendy, good morning. I'm joining from Lagos. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you all for being here this beautiful morning. We're so excited. Amilda is joining from Lekki. We're so excited to have you on this webinar series. This is the 5th webinar series for the Focus Group anniversary, the 10th year anniversary. We all know the Focus Group has, decided to give back by inviting very innovative and innovative leaders that have gone ahead leaders that has forged through the path that we want to walk in, either as an entrepreneur, either as a professional, an aspiring or an emerging or an existing professional. This people who have gone ahead of us is going to also help us chart the path, tell us how they've done it, and we can follow their path. Good morning, good word to fair. While we're waiting for more people to join in another 2 minutes, let's take a break. Let's take the focus group adverts of what we've done in the past and what we are up to in the few weeks to come. Technical, please.
Focus Group Limited webinar series, and here are the news headlines. Focus Group Limited continues its webinar series with episode 5. Focus Group Limited set to launch Workplace Pay. Focus Group Limited set to launch Kira Study App. Focus Group celebrates a significant 10 years with its anniversary dinner set to hold. Kira University Hackathon is confirmed to take place as part of the app launch. Focus Group is hosting a friendly football match in celebration of its 10 years anniversary. Let's get into it. Here's what's happening at Focus Group Limited. Focus Group Limited's 8-part webinar series continues with episode 5. Building a technology culture without a technology background. Currently underway, the session brings together industry leaders and professionals to share practical insights on fostering innovation and technology adoption regardless of technical expertise. As part of its commitment to driving digital transformation and empowering businesses, Focus Group Limited is preparing to launch Workplace Pay. This is an innovative solution designed to enhance workplace productivity, streamline processes, and create greater value for organizations and individuals alike. Focus Group Limited is also preparing to launch the Kira Study App. This is an AI-powered study companion designed to accelerate learning by transforming your notes, textbooks, and lectures into interactive study materials. Kira enhances student study sessions with the power of AI.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Technica. So the entire run through is what we've been up to at Focus Group, from Workplace Pay launch to Kira launch. Over the past, 2 weeks thereabout, when Kira launched, has been adopted by over almost 500 students, and we're looking forward to even more students adopting Kira. So if you're a student here, either studying, your master's level or PhD level, Kira is a good study partner that you love to adopt. Go on the iOS store or the Play Store to download the Kira app. Also, the anniversary is happening on August 17th, and we're expecting a lot of you to be part of us to come celebrate the anniversary with us. But before the anniversary dinner, we're also having a business seminar series where we're having the OEMs and the partners, come talk about the future of technology, especially for CTOs, CIOs in the house. Also, the hackathon is happening at the University of Lagos come August 14th rather, August 14th, 2026 at the University of Lagos. So if you know any students who would love to be part of this competition, just tell them to download the Kira app and follow the, the quiz and the competition guideline in the app. Finally, we're having a friendly match come August 15th, 2026, just to celebrate a significant milestone, or Focus Group pattern. And of course, this 5th webinar with Mr. Austin Kwesi Okere is another groundbreaking webinar to, just say thank you to everyone who has been part of Focus Group and to give back to Focus Group. So this morning, we're not going to belabor it. We're going to just get right into the conversation. We'll be introducing Mr. Austin Okere. But before we do that, I just want everyone who's here this morning to tell us either they are entrepreneurs, either they are business owners, either they are professionals, or you want to join the technology team, the growing technology team in Nigeria and in Africa and the world at large. This is an opportunity for you to learn from someone who has done something very significant, from founding CWG and even founding the Also Leadership Academy. I'm very sure at the end of this webinar, we'll have people who want to be part of the Also Leadership Academy. And so we're going to be using the chat box to indicate people who are very much interested in joining that Leadership Academy. I, for one, am very much interested because, how someone is able to build a multinational technology company from, a house in Surulere to becoming a World Economic Forum, listed company. So, without further ado, let us have the introduction of Mr. Austin Kwesi Okere.
Austin Okere, founder, CWG plc and the OSO Leadership Academy. Austin Kwesi Okere, the founder of CWG plc and the OSO Leadership Academy. An entrepreneur in residence at Columbia Business School, New York, Austin has also facilitated at the United States International University in Kenya and consulted for the Sustainable Development Goals, Africa Center in Rwanda. Austin was appointed to the Business Practices Council of the AACSB International and Advisory Board of the Global Business School Network in recognition of his contribution to the development of business education and knowledge transfer in Africa. CWG plc, the company which he founded, has been recognized as a global growth company by the World Economic Forum and is the largest security listed in the technology sector of the NGX. Austin now runs the OSO Leadership Academy, an institution which mentors business leaders and entrepreneurs to scale their business geometrically for shared prosperity, and serves on the editorial advisory board of Business Day publications. Awards and commendations. Austin Okere received special commendation from Columbia Business School, New York, for his mentorship role, especially in innovation and entrepreneurship. He was recognized with a Lifetime Entrepreneurship Achievement Award by the American University of Nigeria in 2017 for his dedicated service and outstanding entrepreneurial accomplishments. He was named ICT Personality of the Year by the Nigerian Computer Society in 2014 in recognition of his invaluable contribution to the growth and promotion of ICT, and ICT Man of the Decade by ICT Watch Africa Digital Network in 2012. Austin was listed on the UK's C Hub magazine's 100 Most Influential Creatives in 2016.
All right, thank you all so much. Please let us welcome Mr. Austin Okere as he takes the floor.
Hello. Can you hear me at all?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
All right. So can I share my screen now?
Absolutely, sir.
All right. Tell me if you can see my screen.
Yes, sir. I can see your screen. I want to believe all those are seeing your screen as well.
Okay, if you can see, then put in the chat box that you can see so that we'll be giving the permission to continue.
Okay, yeah, thumbs up, thumbs up.
Thumbs up. So we're ready to go.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so firstly, let me congratulate the focus group on this significant milestone. I've known Raji for a very long time. He was a pillar at CWG, and we used to call him the Lion. One day he will tell you why we call him the Lion. Let me also give kudos to Simon Aki, who was a strong pillar at CWG as well, and he has linked up with Raji at the focus group. I believe that the sky is the limit for this budding company. It's a pleasure to be with you today, and my presentation will be very interactive. So look for your keyboard. You have to put things in the chat box. You have to give your answers to a few polls just to make sure that we are all on board and taking it in. So what am I going to talk about today? We're going to cover 6 areas. Firstly, how we're going to look at the unique idea you have for the business and how to put it into what we call a business model canvas, which is a page that tells you everything about your business, not necessarily for you, but for anybody that you want to do business with. Then we'll look at unlocking sales, targeting market share, and then we'll end by talking about the very important issue in a business, especially technology business, which is very usually overlooked, and that is the question of culture. And then after that, we'll take your questions if you have any. So let's start by looking at how to tell our own story. And we will start by the way in which the story is told to be engaging to people. Would you buy from someone who just has a technical laundry list or someone who you trust? So firstly, you establish your credibility as a company, and then the logical justification of why people should buy from you, and connect to the emotional buying motive of your customers, because people buy from an emotion point. They justify it through logic. It's important that your story is short, but people remember it. Less is usually more. And then we'll look at how to get and keep and grow customers. We'll talk about the business model canvas in doing that. And then we'll go into who are the players in my market and how can I get market share. And then turning every stone so that we can see the opportunity. And here is where we'll talk about the business sustainability, which really is very much dependent on the culture of the company. So let's start with seeing how well the focus group has told their story. I warned you that it's going to be a lot of interaction. So my first question, and what I want you to do is to type the answer into the chat box. Name 3 solutions from the focus group. Just put your answer in the chat box. I'm sure the facilitator will be looking at the answer you put in and she'll be shaking her head. These people, they know or they don't know. Okay. All right. Raja, are they getting it right? Okay. All right. So this tells a feedback to focus group whether people know their customers. Then I have a second question for you. Name 5 customers of the focus group, and again, put your answers in the chat box. Who are 5 customers of the focus group? Hopefully, some of them are on this chart here. Okay. I'm wondering if Raji is checking to see whether they are getting it right. Raji, are you with us? All right. The next question is, who are the OEM partners of focus group? Which companies do focus group represent in Nigeria? Okay. Okay, that's interesting. If you didn't get anyone correct at all, you should get this one correct. How old is the focus group? How old is the focus group? Yeah, I can see. Everybody got this one right. We're celebrating the 10th anniversary of the focus group. All right, that's great. So now let us look at how another company, these three companies told their story and differentiated themselves. Just to give an example, or just to look at what really we can learn from them. So let's talk about Xerox. And Xerox, who knows the acronym of Xerox? When we were small, it was a company set up in 1938. The acronym was "We thought the world to copy." Rank Xerox, we thought the world to copy. And they were not the only people in that business. There was something called cyclostyling machine. Making copies was messy. So the gentleman at Xerox, his name was Mr. Chester Carlson, invented a copying machine. But it was very, very expensive. In today's money, to be about, say, $20,000. And companies could not buy it, obviously, because it was too expensive. And the company said, well, let's shelve this idea. But Chester was very adamant. He felt that this was the future. So he said to the companies, well, you can't buy it because it's expensive, but we can give it to you. And then you pay us per each copy you make. So they had a counter, and as you make copies, that's how you pay them. Quite honestly, they made much more money than if they had sold the Xerox machines. So even today, Xerox still does that. They have where you can go and then you make copies and pay. The other one is Google. And Google is known for search, but they were not the only ones that were doing search. There were quite a few others that were doing search. And Google said, oh, what we're going to do, advertising, pricing, we can't just charge more than anybody else is charging. And so they said, okay, we will not charge for advertising. You bid for advertising. You bid where you want your company to come out. And that's where you come up with this concept of search engine optimization, or SEO. So if you want to be on page one, you bid for page one on any click or any search, and they made a killing. Nobody thought about it, thinking outside the box. So Google did not follow the crowd to sell adverts, but rather they auctioned the pages on their search engine. Let's look at another one that a lot of people are very familiar with, Apple. Now, why has Apple differentiated themselves? And we use this as an example of telling a simple story. Now, his story was simple. He says that we are not here to do things that are only technical. Let's see what his first philosophy is. He told people his philosophy. You remember we said first your credentials, and then when you give your credentials, the logical reason why people should buy, and then the emotional buy motive. If people want to steal phones, the one they pray they will find to steal is Apple. And his philosophy was that simple. He says we are challenging the status quo. We're making beautiful products. It is simple, and it is your phone, your camera, your music player, all in one place. So he's not saying that our phone has 3 gigabytes of memory, 20 Celeron chips. No, very simple. And this is how you get people to remember what you are there for. And the selling point is that, listen, we don't force you to buy a whole album just for one song. So our iTunes gives you the freedom to buy only one song. And I think I was one of the first to buy an iPod, because I always hated buying the whole album because of one song. But since then, I've been used to the iOS. I know a lot of there's been a lot of progress on the Android side, but a lot of people still prefer iPhone. Okay, so now let's check whether I'm right or wrong about whether people follow iPhone. Put your answer in the chat box. What is the latest iPhone module? What is the latest iPhone model? Now, the facilitator will mark your script too. So if you don't know, don't put. Did they get it right?
Well, yes.
I think we're at iPhone 17.
Yes, sir. In fact, some people added iPhone 17 Pro Max.
So I told you they are following the story. You know, people queue in front of Apple store to buy the latest iPhone. I wish they would queue in front of CWG store or Focus Group store to buy our products. Anyway, so now let's look at the business model canvas. Why is this important? It's important because we all start business and we start selling something, then we start selling the next thing, then we're selling to some people, then some other people buy. But it's not clear to us the structure of how the business is going. So, firstly, what is the value proposition? We just saw how the Apple company talked about their value proposition. So, what are the value? Sorry, I think I must have made some mistake. What is the value proposition? And we'll look at an example in the fair. We'll look at an example shortly. What am I selling? The second question is, to who am I selling it? To who am I selling it? So here you have to define who your key customers are. Not everybody is your customer. You know, if you chase every customer, you'll be like the dog that is chasing everybody or the person who is going to the market and is kicking every dog that barks at it. Who are the key customers? Next thing you want to do is, which are my partners? And we just asked you a few seconds ago, who are the partners of Focus Group? Who are the key partners? So now you know what you're selling, the value that you're selling. Now you know the key customers you are selling to. Who are the partners that you are selling their products? The next thing you want to do is, how do I get customers? And think it through. How do I get customers? Because sometimes the way you are getting customers is not the most optimum way. And through which distribution channel will I take my product from my company into the hands of the customer? There's no point your product sitting with you. It has to be in the hands of the customer. Then what are the key activities? Sometimes we're doing so many activities, but not all of them are important. For this business I'm doing, what are the key activities? Some of the key activities are not very obvious. For instance, Focus Group today is having their 10th anniversary, and there's so many things that they are doing, including this webinar. It's a key activity because it shows to the customer that this company cares about the long term of the industry. But if you don't trap it as one of the key activities, then it will not be done. And then, who are the key resources that I need? And there are businesses where if you don't have that key resource, then your business will not be successful. And those key resources, especially in technology companies, are very important. After you've done all this, trap what is my cost and what is my revenue stream. Hopefully, your revenue is more than your cost. But if you don't track it, you will not know. And if your revenue is less than your cost, then you are in a situation of insolvency because your unit economics don't make sense. You put more money in the business is not still doing well. So you need to check that your revenue is more than your cost. And let us see how this works out through an example. So this is an example of a health insurance company. And then let's follow them again on how they've done it. So again, they started by what is the value that they are providing. So they provide value for corporates and for SME and for retail. And what they provide for each is quite different. So if you look at the retail, they are looking at price flexibility. They are looking at acquisition of existing hospitals. If you look at their corporate, what they are providing is wellness. And then who are the customers they are selling to? So they've talked about we sell to corporates, we sell to SMEs, medium enterprises, and then we sell to retail, the high network individuals, and then the salaried workers. So I don't see that they are selling to artisans. So they are clear that artisans is not our market, maybe because they don't have a steady salary. But then somebody else may have their products focused solely at artisans. Then they talk about who are my key partners: pharmacies, health influencers, institutions. So what activities do they do? Training of providers, research, best practice, they do consultation. And to do that, what are the key resources that I need? People in sales, technology, self-owned hospitals, medical equipment. Then they come with their costs, and then they come with their revenue. So we're going to go to our first poll, and then we'll check. We talked about who are the key partners to the business. And the poll is going to be asking you about that. Who are the most important partners for your business? Gabriel launched the poll. So is it the entrepreneur? Is it the tech guru? Is it the finance and operations head? Or is it any other? If you're going into a business, who are the most important in that order? So Gabriel is going to launch the poll, and then you are going to put in your answers. All right.
Let's keep it coming. It's in the chat box.
Okay. Gabriel, tell us when we have some votes that have come in.
Okay, sir. So we have 2 votes so far.
Okay.
We have over 30 participants. Let's keep it coming. We have 4 votes.
All right. Perhaps people that are using their phone may not be able to vote.
It's coming faster now. We have 8 so far, 8 responses.
I think we have 12 responses now. Please, if you're using your laptop or you can, vote via your laptop, can you do that? Thank you.
All right. So, Anu, what did people vote? What is the consensus? What is the overriding? What do people say? What is the result of the vote?
We have 14 responses so far. 73% believes that an entrepreneur is a major partner for them.
Okay.
6% says technology guru.
Okay.
13% says finance and operations head. And another 6% says order.
Okay. So this is a trick question because you actually need all three. You need the entrepreneur who is a rainmaker, but you also need the tech guru who is going to help develop the products and maintain the products. And if the finance and operations head is missing, then who is taking care of the money? So you need all three, really. And if you have these three, chances are that your business will be very successful because there's somebody doing key part of each part of the business. All right. Let's look at another poll. We talked when we looked at the business model canvas about customer relationship. How do we gain customers? And this is talking to what is the most effective way to gain customers. Again, you're going to use your poll chart. So Gabriel, launch the poll. Anu will be checking the poll in order to see what people said.
Okay, it's in the chat box.
How are we doing?
We have 4 responses so far.
Okay. People are thinking about it. This one is not a trick question like the first one. So feel free to vote what you think. Okay, how are we doing, Gabriel?
We have 12 responses so far.
We have 12 responses. And what are they saying?
Okay. 75% says direct customer engagement.
Okay.
16% says hoarder. 8% says influencers.
And I'm surprised not many people are talking about social media posting. It seems as if social media posting is not the best way to gain customers.
A lot of people think that you can only just post. You need to find a way to engage them. I think things are really changing now. The landscape of social media, yes, it's really changing.
Then I noticed that people didn't choose email blasts, so that doesn't bring you customers.
They don't read. No reading culture.
No reading culture. I know you are very correct. I think the direct customer engagement is your best way. If you sit in your house and start blasting email and posting social media, don't be expectant that you sell a lot. So I agree with the audience. Direct customer engagement is probably the most. All right, then this is the last poll in the series. And again, this is not a trick question. Which is most important for business sustainability? Turnover, profit, or cash flow? Gabriel, launch the poll.
Okay, it's in the chat box. Let's start voting.
Sorry, someone says it does not allow for multiple votes. Yes, it's not allowing multiple votes. It's just one vote, and then you submit the vote.
Thanks for clarification. Because it says all of them are important, but the question is which is most important? So it has to be one. Most important.
I think this is coming faster. We are more awake now. We have 13 votes so far.
Okay. Let's go to our INEC chairman for this word. Anu, INEC chairman, what is the result saying?
All right. All right, more people are still voting. Let's
Oh,
give
okay. So you want to give them some time?
some little more
Okay.
time changing. All right.
You're the INEC chairman. Anytime you want, you can announce the results.
Free and fair election. All right. So 70 responses so far. 29% believes that it's turnover.
Okay.
35% says it's profit.
Okay.
Okay, that's changed. All right, let's go back. 27% thinks it's turnover. 33% thinks it's profit. Another 33% thinks it's cash flow. And then 5% says order.
All right. I'm not so sure that we have the audiences have the mic. I would have liked to hear from each person, any person that feels strongly about turnover, why they think it's turnover. Do you have the mic for
I
your
think
audience, or you don't?
we can enable the mic. So you can just show, by raising your hand, and then we'll enable your mic.
Okay, so we want the first person who voted turnover, the person who voted turnover, to tell us why. And I'll leave that in your care.
Yes,
Take us through that exercise.
Okay. So please just raise your hand, and then let's have you. You just have to we'll turn on your mic. But let's see, use the react button to raise your hand. Use the react button to, about 5 people voted for turnover, so you shouldn't be scared now to back that up with something.
If they are scared, go to profit. Who said profit, and can they tell us why?
Who said profit? I wish this was, I really wish I can see the people who voted. I would call their names, and nobody
All right.
will be right.
I think people are shy. So let's look at it. The thing about these three things are all important, but let's look at which one is the most important. So Anu, since you and I are the ones on this call, if I buy products and sell them, and I make a turnover of 100 million naira, I make a turnover of 100 million naira, but I bought the products for 120 million naira. Am I making progress?
No.
Okay, so turnover is not the most important, right? It's not showing off how much you sold. Somebody said profit, and I agree. If I buy products and I make a turnover of 100 million, and I bought the products for 80 million, am I making progress?
Yes.
Yes, because I'm making profit. So profit is more important than just the turnover. Now, I'll ask my last question. With that profit of 80 million, you know how many women used to sell from the boot of their cars? They sell bags, shoes, you pick, and then end of month you pay. Now, if I sell 80 million, I make a profit of 20 million. I bought for 80 million, I make a profit of 20 million. But people owe me 50 million, they haven't paid. Every day I call them, they say, oh, next month. I know, am I making profit?
No.
Why? After all, I made the turnover and I made the profit. Why am I not making progress?
Your cash is trapped.
Your cash is trapped. You can't order another set. So the most important is the cash. Turnover is vanity. Profit is sanity, but cash is king. Whatever you do not run out of money, because once the cash stops flowing, the business comes to a standstill. End of month, if you can't pay salary, if you can't pay rent, if you can't pay Lagos State, you come and barricade your office. So it's important that the things you sell, you are selling them at profit, but it's even more important that you collect your money. So cash flow is the most important. Let us switch gears a bit and look at the customer segments. We're looking at the customer segments of the business model canvas. The whole thing about customer segment is how to gain market share. you enter a business, let's say you are selling hair products. You are not the first. There are people there already. So how do you get your own market share? First, if you ask me, I would say look at the key players in that business. So who are the biggest hair product sellers? So you put yourself in the middle, and then you look at who are the biggest in the market. It's important in any business that you make sales, because it's from sales that you generate a profit margin, as we saw in the last poll. From that profit margin, you can spend money for marketing, you can spend money for branding, and then you can make more sales. But you have to estimate how much sales you can make. That will guide how much you are going to import. So once you've captured the people, the key players, the next thing you want to do is check how much each of them is making. So this particular example is on a company in education, and it says higher education. The key players are Coursera, Kaplan. Then it puts how much they are selling. In corporate is Franklin Covey. In startup ecosystem, you have Chegg and Mozilla. And then you sum up all the turnover. So then you say, well, in that education market, higher education is 20 billion, adult learning is 55 billion, institutions is 23 billion, ecosystem is 20 billion, corporate is 100 billion. Then you decide, out of this 100 billion, how much can I reasonably take? How much of the higher education out of the 20 billion can I take? So this gives you a scientific way of targeting market share rather than going in blindly. But the point is, when you've decided the market share you want, it's not as if the market share will jump into your pockets. You have to go and sell to get that market share, isn't it, Anu?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. You have to.
So the next thing we're going to look at a poll. When we are selling, what percentage of salespeople stick around long enough to get the order? What percentage of salespeople stick around long enough to the point where the customer says, okay, here is the money, give me the product? Gabriel, launch the poll.
Let's start voting. It's in the chat box.
No, 50 seconds. Okay. How are we doing, Gabriel?
We have 8 responses so far.
I'm going to leave the decision about announcing the results to the INEC chairman by name of Anu Oluwapo.
Focus group INEC chairman.
Focus group INEC chairman.
Okay, I think we have 10 responses. So a few more seconds, so you can still vote. Okay, 12 responses. Okay, 13, 14. Right. 30% says, okay, number 2, okay. 30%, 35% of people think there's 30% of salespeople that stick around long enough.
Okay.
Another 35% thinks there's 8% of salespeople that stick around long enough. And finally, 28% thinks it's 2% of salespeople that stick around long enough to get the order.
Okay, so I did a research on this same topic, and this is what I found. So you engage with the customer, and then you get a rejection. So you know that it is not interested. Maybe you are selling Brazilian. What they want is not Brazilian. They want another type, Indian maybe. So then you clarify their requirement. You go and get them Indian, and then you sell them. You provide the Indian to them. But maybe they say, I'm not so sure. At this point, 60% will drop out. That's what I found. And sometimes they are not taking your call. Sometimes they are taking your call. So once they are not taking the call, another 30% drop out. So that's 9 people have dropped out. Now, if there are 10 people that started the sale, well, they would like to buy, but they haven't made the purchase. In their mind, I'm going to buy if I see Anu tomorrow. But because you are not present, and you are not getting the call, another 8% drop out. At the end of the day, there's only 2% that will stick around. They'll say, oh, madam, that thing, oh, yeah. Can you bring it and deliver it tomorrow? So sales is really about stickiness. But many of us, we don't stick around to get to the point where we collect the order. These are some of the reasons why we call Raji the lion. Raji is very sticky, and I'm sure he's doing exactly that in focus group. Okay, I know I left the culture piece to the last, but I realized that our time is fair spent. So should we just round up, or should we do the culture piece? I didn't realize we have spent almost 49 minutes.
Let's do the culture piece, sir.
You sure?
Yes, I'm very sure.
Okay. So let's start the culture piece with a poll. There's this debate about strategy and culture. And there's no correct or wrong answer to this, but I'd like to know from the audience. As a leader, which would you focus more on, strategy or culture? Gabriel, launch the poll.
We have so many leaders here, so let's ensure that we have more than 15 votes.
Exactly.
I'm leaving it in the hands of the INEC chairman to announce the results, to count the vote and announce the results.
Okay.
Let's keep it coming.
Responses so far. I was hoping we would get at least 20 responses. We need to vote. Do we have our voters card? Okay. 50 responses so far, sir. 40% think it's strategy.
Our INEC chairman.
INEC chairman has traveled.
She's on mute.
Oh,
Okay. We thought you had traveled.
Okay, I've been speaking. I thought I've been speaking, sir. Okay. We have 15 responses, and this culture, it shows that some people don't have voters card, so go and get your voters card. So 40%, all right, 16 responses now. 31% thinks a strategy, and 68% thinks it's culture.
Okay, so this one is culture. A lot of people think it's culture, and I don't disagree with them. Strategy is very important. But remember that the strategy will be delivered by people. Strategy cannot deliver itself. and the most important about people in the company is the culture. The culture of the company is lived through the behavior of the leaders. The culture of the company is lived through the behavior of the leaders. So look at the behavior of the leaders and you immediately glean the culture of the company. In my view, culture will eat strategy for breakfast any day. When you look at people in the company, you ask yourself, is this Austin Okere? Is he competent? So competence is one. Is he committed to the company? That's two. The third thing you ask is, does he have the right character? If he doesn't have the right character, then even the competence and the commitment will not make much difference, because the character will lead us astray, doing sharp practices and so on. And so it's very important that we focus on culture and make sure that we get the culture right. If we get the culture right and we now bring in the right strategy, we are sure that the people will be successful at the strategy. And many people confuse leadership with authority, but authority is a poor substitute for leadership. Why? Because authority is a title. You are general manager, you are manager, but leadership is earned. Leadership is people deciding that you have something that I can learn from. So I know you asked me to talk about one big mistake that tech people make regarding culture in the business, or non-tech people make. I think the first thing we want to do in the business, which we don't do enough of, is we talked a little bit about this. What is our reason for being? Why do people notice, or why do we even wake up from bed? So Apple have said they are there for the reason that they are there. Focus group has to tell us, what is your purpose? What is focus group out to solve in this world? But because of culture, we have to come up with maybe 3 or 4 core values. And your values can be whatever you think they are. If we're a group of armed robbers, our values should be who can steal the most or who can torture the most. But if we're a focus group, a technology company, maybe it should be integrity, candor, etc. And that's the key thing that we miss. A lot of times when people join our company, we take them through induction. Here is your boss. Here is your PC. Here is your desk. Oh, yeah, start working. We don't tell them the stories about the company. We don't tell them where we're coming from. We don't tell them the near misses we had. The company nearly went into extinction. Which value saved us? Oh, we nearly made that mistake, but if not that. So we need to bring people into immersion so that they feel as if they're part of the company, not just induction. Once you build down that, you look at the vision so that you can align people behind the vision. And then you look at how to empower the leadership in order to get the best performance. But as the year goes around, we need to measure our progress. Are we meeting our budgets? Are we meeting our commitments? This is very important. And if you ask me, I think this is the one big mistake that we make. We never take our key people, our new joiners, through that. I call it immersion. If you do that, then you get a total commitment from the person who joined the company. If you don't do that, then they are working for the pay. So let's look at one more poll, and this is about the company and its ownership. A lot of people are confused about who owns the company. So some people think it's the founder, people think it's the MD, some people think it's the bank that has borrowed so much money to the company. Some people think it's the VC that invested in the company. Let's check what your audience think. Who owns the company? Gabriel, if you have a poll, can you launch it?
Okay, is in the charts. Let's start voting.
I'll leave our focus group INEC chairman to announce the election results. I hope Anu is still with us and she hasn't gone on sabbatical.
I'm here, sir. Okay.
Yeah. We have 13 responses.
Can we keep it coming? Okay. We have how many people on the 14 responses? Okay. 21% thinks the majority shareholders own the company. 13% thinks all shareholders in the register. Another 46% thinks all the stakeholders. 20% thinks none of the above.
Okay, so nobody selected the original founders.
Nobody.
I think the founders on this call will be very upset. And the truth is that the original founders are not the owners of the company. But unfortunately, it's also not the majority shareholders and not the shareholders in the registers and not the stakeholders. That's why they are not called owners. They are called shareholders. The truth is none of the above. Nobody owns the company. Nobody owns the company. The company is an entity on its own, but it is incapacitated to do anything for itself. So you get a board of directors to look after the company and act in the best interest of the company. So if I want to use an analogy, I'll say the company is like an incapacitated child of a very rich man who has died and leaves all his money to this incapacitated child. But the child cannot do anything for himself. And there's all that money. So you normally get a board of trustees to make sure that the child is taken care of and so on. If the board of trustees chop all the money, there's nothing the child can do. And if they increase the wealth of that child by investing properly, that's also very good. But nobody owns their children. You give birth to your children. Anu, do you own your children because you gave birth to them?
No, sir, even though I don't have one yet.
Yeah, but the same way that we don't own our children, nobody owns the company. So if nobody owns the company, then who takes care of the company? Well, firstly, you have the shareholders appoint a board of directors to supervise the activities of the company. And then you have the board appoints a CEO, and the CEO has a management team that run day to day. Many companies don't have this structure. And because they don't have this structure, there is no check and balance. So the company runs aground. Even if you are not ready for a board of directors, have an advisory board, so that you have another pair of eyes looking at what you're doing and pointing your blind spot. And then we, the leaders of focus group, who then are we? I'll say we're called the stewards. We're called to stewardship. And we have to exhibit 4 key fundamentals: responsibility, accountability, transparency, and then fairness. And when we say responsibility, what do we mean? This is the duty or obligation to manage tasks and actions and manage their consequences. Whatever action you take, there will be a consequence. Accountability is the obligation to take ownership and answer for decisions, and then accept the consequences of your actions. Transparency is the principle of operating openly and honestly, ensuring information is clear, information is accessible and understood to build trust. Fairness is about being impartial and the just treatment or behavior without favoritism or discrimination. So not just only the leaders in focus group, but every leader, regardless of the company they are in or their role or their rank, they have to operate from a deep conviction that the decisions that they make give the best available, giving the available information that is there, is it reflects the best decision at the time, and what is optimal for the company. So if you have 4 bids and the best bid is bid number 2, but you have interest in bid number 4 and you select bid number 4, that is not being transparent or fair. So when we talk about culture, I'll end with this slide on culture, and I think it's a very important one. For check and balance, you have a board, and the board are supposed to ensure that there is governance, there is leadership, and there is responsibility at every point in time in the company. And that is what I would like to say about culture. The last bit, which is just very short, it's about sustainability. Sustainability is, if you take companies like IBM, they've been there for even before I was born, and many others like that. But the companies in our own area, once the owner dies, the company dies. And you wonder, why are companies not sustainable? One is because of the culture piece that I talked about. But the second thing is that our companies never reach that tipping point. If you take, for instance, the Dangote refinery, when it was launched, the Dangote and his innovative people launched it. Then there are people that started buying early from him. Once you pass that 15% of the market, you are on an innovation, you are on a sustainability. Even if I take the iPhone, not many people started using mobile phone when it was introduced. And then you have the early majority, the late majority, the laggards. But the most important thing about sustainability is that you have to reach that point, where there's no going back. But let's also be clear that people buy from you because of your brand. And the way you build brand is your trust. The currency of brand is trust. If people don't trust you, then they don't buy from you, and then your brand suffers. So the common indicators of I call this the chasm or the tipping point, is that the economics turn positive. Your customer acquisition is low compared to your lifetime value. The word of mouth dominates. So people talk about focus group, talk about, they know your company. Same with CWG. People just talk about, even if they're buying or not buying anything from you, rather than depending on adverts. And then the network effects kick in. So let's look at the example of CWG. This is the heritage of both myself and Raji. It's important to see what has happened, that in a year, the share has grown by 241%. The people that buy the shares, maybe they don't even use technology, but they buy the shares because they believe in the company. The price today is 24 naira. It started 5 years ago, it was about 6 naira. So people that bought have multiplied their money. And you see, when I talk about sustainability, the fact that it's also listed on the market means that it's not a gain in the hands of just Austin or the founders. It has a life of its own, just like I said. If you look at where it's coming from, we started with 35,000 in 1992 to set up this company. And when we listed in the year 2013, we listed at $90 million, which means that the multiple is 2,500 times. What does that mean? Anu, if you had invested 1,000 in 1992, by 2013, that your $1,000 will be $2.5 million. But you did not invest, did you?
I did not.
You did not.
I was probably still in primary school, so
You did not. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our formal presentation. I'm sorry that it's taking so much time. I didn't realize that the polls would take all that amount of time. I don't know whether we still have time for question and answer.
we do, sir. I mean, we actually expected that the presentation would be about an hour, but yeah, thank you very much, sir, because it's such a privilege to have you. This is time for question and answers. So if you have any question you want to ask Mr. Austin any question, kindly drop your question on the chat box. I do know that I posted on LinkedIn earlier and I said, send in your questions for, us to ask Mr. Austin. And I have like two questions here. I think there are other ones dropping. But also, if you have any question, kindly drop it in the chat box. Thank you. While we're waiting for that, there's a question here that says that this question is on trust, integrity, and culture. And it's so interesting that we had spoken, Mr. Austin has spoken on culture. And it says you built CWG on a foundation of trust and keeping your word. It's everywhere on the news. When you search Mr. Austin of Kwesi Okere, it will come out. You would see it. It's very evident. And then it says, how do you instill that specific value into a highly technical, fast-moving engineering culture? That's the first question.
Okay, this is a very good question. I'll answer it with an example. About 4 years after we started, 1992, so this is 1996, we got a big order from ExxonMobil for Dell systems. Some other people got orders as well. But in that particular year, there was a new device that came called the mouse. So the mouse was not always there. I mean, it's new. You people were born into it, so you don't even know that there was a time we're using computers without mouse. And so Dell shipped the systems to us for mobile with a promotion of a mouse and a mouse pad because they wanted customers to know about mouse so that they will order mouse in their next order. And other people had delivered to ExxonMobil. And so when I went to deliver, I delivered the system and the mouse pad. I remember the computer manager, the CIO then, he said, I'm not paying for mouse. I did not order mouse. All you want to oversell. And I say, oh, Mr. Odele, it's not for you to pay for. It came with the order. It's a promotion. I say, promotion? All the other people that came, they tried to get more money. So that singular action, built so much trust that we became more or less the jaw supplier to ExxonMobil. And we're supplying so many computers to them just because of that action of delivering trust. Now, if I tried to sell it, I would have made a little bit more money, but it would never be as much as the customer trusting you and giving you every order after that. So that's an example of trust. And there's so many instances I can give you, but I think that it's always a long game. You either play the short game or you play the long game. If you play the short game, that is transactional. If you play the long game, that's relationship. There are sometimes you don't even make a huge profit on a particular deal. Maybe something went wrong, but you say, okay, let me just do this because the next one will be better, and the next one will be better. But people must come to you as a first choice because they trust you. Even if you are the best and they don't trust you, chances are that they may not be very comfortable to come to you. You may be their last option.
Thank you very much, sir. I want to believe the person is watching either via YouTube currently. So that question has been answered. The second question is, what is the biggest cultural mistake non-technical founders make when trying to lead a technology company?
I think the biggest mistake comes from the fact that we have what we call the hero culture. There are two cultures. There is a hero culture, which means Austin Okere is the founder. He's the one that knows everything. Nobody else knows anything. Everything will go and ask him. And you feel important because everybody comes to ask you. But there's also the culture called collaborative culture, which means Austin is good in entrepreneurship. Philip Obia is good in technology or operations. James Agada is good in technology. So each of them bring their own competence, so that it's not about one person. It's about what each person can bring that is priceless to the pursuit of the vision. If we do that, even as I've left CWG, I left CWG, I retired in 2017, December, and the company is doing fantastic. But if I didn't put the collaborative culture in place, after you retire, you see that the company itself will follow you into the abyss. So that's a lot of the mistakes that we make, believing that we are the all in all because we are the founder. But that's a hero culture. Let's go more towards collaborative culture and let the power reside in the company than the power residing in the founder.
Thank you very much, sir. Let the power reside in the company than in the founder. There's also a saying that says no man is an island of knowledge. We all come together to learn. All right. There's this question from Joktan Daniel. And it's so interesting that Dr. Raji has a question too. All right. From Joktan Daniel, he says, if strategy can be imitated, what are the essential steps to cultivating a resilient organizational culture?
And I think the doctor asked a very important question. So when we're building CWG, we had what we call the Business Performance Review, BRM, and we had strategy sessions. And my friends would say, Austin, why are you sharing your strategy? Everybody will copy. These your people, when they resign, they'll just go and, do the same thing. And it's true. Strategy can be copied very easily. What you cannot copy is the culture of a company. Let that sink in. You cannot copy the culture of a company. If you look at companies that differentiate, Apple, you can go and start making phones, but you will not be Apple. You can't copy the culture of Apple. CWG has a unique culture. You can take all the strategy documents of CWG, but you cannot be CWG because you cannot copy the culture of CWG. You build your own culture. So I wouldn't worry too much about people copying strategy. The world today, whatever you think in your head, people already know it. It's amazing. The military were telling us that before they finish their meeting, Boko Haram already knows the plans. So, but the culture, what will really help is the culture we possess as a people or institutions. Is it a culture of candor? Is it a culture of performance and competence? If those cultures are not there, you can spend any amount of money you want, you will not succeed. So build the right culture.
Right, thank you, sir. And I think this is the final question from Dr. Raji. The lion.
The lion.
All right. What are the 3 key things that transformed CWG from, starting with $35,000 to 90 million US dollars, to a 90 million US dollar company in only 21 years, in an economy that many startup dies within the first 5 years of its existence?
The lion. The lion knows the answer to this question, but I think he's asking it for the benefit of the audience. So I'll share with you the 3 things that sustain me. I think the first one, if you have a pen, write it down. The first one is way power, as in WAY. Way power. There are 3 powers. Way power is your aptitude, your knowledge about what you are, the solutions you are given. So yes, I'm lucky that I graduated computer science, went into technology business, and I made a success of it. There are some people that came into technology from other disciplines. They are engineers and so on and so forth. But you can learn so much about the solutions you're providing. The lion knew so much about the technology. I don't think that he graduated technology, but he knew so much about the technology that we're selling in CWG that sometimes the technology people take him to the sales meetings. So the first power is way power, which is the aptitude, way power. Then the second power is willpower, W-I-L-L, your willpower. That speaks to your attitude. That is going the extra mile, even when things look tough, even when things look impossible. The lion will share some of his stories. You know, I told you cash flow is the most important. And we had one customer that was owing us, never paid. At that time, we were very young, we didn't have so much money. And the customer was the customer of the lion. So he went to the company and he says he will not leave until they pay him. I won't mention the name of the company. And they just ignored him, and he was in the reception. And when they were closing, they said, we're closing. He said, okay, no problem. I'll be here. When you come tomorrow, you see me. And, well, I really asked him this question. Did he mean to do that? So he stayed. The MD of the company, or I think the finance director of the company was not comfortable. She had left. And then she came back after 2 hours and still saw the lion sitting there under the tree. She panicked. She begged him, please go tomorrow, come and collect your money. You know, and that's how the lion got his payments from that customer. Other people, suppliers were not paid because the company was struggling and it was dying. But the lion got his money. You know, and that is the most important. The attitude of never say die. If you fall down 7 times, stand up 8. And the last power, the last one, the last W, is what we call weight power, W-A-I-T, weight power. And it speaks to patience. As Nigerians, we are not known for patience. But patience is extremely important, you know, because when you plant corn, in 3 months, you harvest the corn. So your neighbor is harvesting his corn. You planted cocoa. You know, cocoa will take 5 years before it yields the first fruit, but it will feed you for life. The corn you harvest only once. And then you see the neighbor harvesting corn, you go and cut down all your cocoa and plant corn. You don't have patience. So the 3 things, Dr. Raji, is will power, willpower, and weight power.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. I know there's one more question here, but we have to look at your time, except you're giving me the permission to ask the question.
Oh, you are the INEC chairman. When you dismiss us, we go home.
All right, sir. Okay.
The polling station is still open. The polling booth is still open.
All right. Let me enjoy the autonomy of this power. So I'm adjusting my visas. So, what are the key drivers of long-term sustainability that enables company growth? And this person. Oh, is this a poll? I think this is a poll. It's actually not a. It's a question. All right. Somebody sent the question. Okay. So the person has, you know, options of, is it reliable systems? Is it retained knowledge or documented knowledge? And the number 3 is it recurring revenue model? Is it customer success, or is it all of the above?
Well, that was a lovely lecture. I learned a lot from just listening to that lecture. But long-term sustainability is got to do with what is retained in the company. Now, let me answer this question slowly, because it's what we do at ALA. The Lion has attended ALA in the early stages of focus group. And we have something called strategy development and strategy execution. The knowledge is in the 200 people that work in the company, or the 20 people that work in the company. It's in their head. How do we make the knowledge resident in the business so that when the 20 people leave, the next 20 people that come will not have to build knowledge from the scratch? The knowledge is retained. If the company does not retain its knowledge, then sustainability becomes very difficult. So the knowledge is one thing, but the people to prosecute that knowledge is also another thing. So CWG in 2000 was struggling. If you remember, 1999, we had the shift from military dictatorship to democracy. Before that shift, some of you were not born then, so let me tell you the story. Before then, the OEM partners such as Dell, they didn't even want to come to Nigeria, Oracle and the rest. They were just happy for us to do the business, and then they operated through us. And we had a field day. After we shifted to democracy, all of them came into the country. And where do you think they got their staff from? From us. In fact, CWG was very hit because a lot of people will say this open position in the newspaper, they say CWG staff, please apply. And I went to the Minister of Comtech and I said, is this legal? What can I do about it? He said, there's nothing you can do about it because, they came with dollars. So whatever salary you have, they can triple it. What are you going to tell the staff? So then we set up what we call the CWG Academy. And the CWG Academy took anybody who was interested in joining the technology business. And we train, it's still there. We train people on a practical aspect for 3 months and then put them into the business. When they go to site, you even know that they are trainees because we throw them into the deep end. And that's how we're able to survive. So 2 things. The knowledge of the business has to transcribe from the heads of the people in the business into the business. That's the first thing. The second thing is that you have to have a steady stream of people that can execute the strategy, that can procreate the culture, and can carry on with the business. And then when they are also leaving, they leave the same goodwill to the next people coming. CWG has gone through 3 levels of leadership now. After I left, we had James. James is retired now. Now we have Adewale Adeyepo. And then if he's also leaving, or when he's leaving, there'll be somebody else who has the knowledge of the business and has the academy to produce the people to prosecute it. So it's 2 sides of the coin.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for that enriching response. Well, I have a personal question and 2 personal questions. As someone who took a tech company public, what corporate structure, what corporate governance structures should a non-tech founder or even a tech founder put in place early to secure long-term scale?
The thing about scale is that it's something which happens because of a long period of a track record. So I'll tell you one thing. If someone buys from you, you've made a sale, right, Anu?
Yes, sir.
If he buys again, you've gained a customer, right?
Absolutely.
Now, if he goes and tells other people about it, you've built a brand. And what will make the company sustainable is the brand. Is the brand. The people that were working in Coca-Cola when it was successful, they've moved and there's been new people and there's been other new people. What keeps Coca-Cola going sustainably is the brand. Everything enshrined in that thing called Coca-Cola. The same thing with, I don't want to go into football now because people will start throwing stones. The same thing with Arsenal. The Gunners is a brand. It's not because of Aubameyang or because of Thierry Henry. It's the brand. Man U is a brand. CWG is a brand. If you don't build a brand, your company will not be sustainable, no matter how good it is. It's the brand.
Thank you very much. And to my second question, a final question about the ALA. I had I have someone here, Mr. Yorin Debanjo. His hand is raised. You have a question? I think he has a question. So you can enable your mic from your end and answer your question. Enable his mic, please, technical team. Kindly enable his mic so that he can ask the question. Thank you. Mr. Banjo, we can.
Very much. Yeah, thank you very much. I also would like to thank Mr. Otunokere for this great insight he's given us. I have this question, and it's likely, let me make it two in one. The first is the vision of the pioneer of the business. How is he entrenched to the business such that that vision remains? That is the first one. And the second one permits me to personalize it to CWG. Just like you mentioned, after you left, James Dada and then Adewale and so on. From your own perception, your primary vision, have they been able to key into that vision even to date? That's my question, sir.
Okay. Have they been able to key into the primary vision? So how will I answer this question? I have to be a bit slow about answering it. How many people know the vision of their company? So let me put you on the spot, the person that asked the question. I don't know whether you work in the company or you have your own company, but what's the vision of the company? Whether it's your own company or you work in a company, what's the vision of the company?
Thank you very much. Okay, the vision of Focus Group is to be a global ICT service provider.
Okay. The system, the computer system is even believing that you don't know the vision of head. So it's helping you by making your mic not to work very well. I know many people don't know the vision of their company, even founders.
Okay, we really can't hear you.
Yeah, but let me just take that question. The vision has to be inspiring, aspiring, and simple so that people know it. Let me use this example. Putting a man on the moon. I don't know how many of you are old enough to know that the Americans sent a man on the moon during John F. Kennedy's reign as president. And he set out a vision, very simple. This was in about 1961. Put a man on the moon and bring him back safely before the end of the decade. So you know that the man has to go to the moon. You can't return him dead. He has to come back safely. And you have to achieve that by 1970. They achieved it in 1969. And the story is told that he went to visit NASA one day and he saw the cleaner, mopping the floor. And he said, "What do you do here?" The guy says, "We are working very hard to put a man on the moon." Everybody knew the vision. So CWG, everybody know the vision. Plus those that were there, plus those that have left. Our vision is to be the most preferred technology solutions out of Africa. It's not complicated, most preferred. If you look in Nigeria and you talk about technology, probably the one that you know the most is CWG. I had one slide which I didn't include, but it tells you about the share of market we have. You take, for instance, the banking sector. About 67% of banking transactions go through our Finacle core banking application. Out of the 27 banks, I think 23 are on Finacle. Every MTN call you make, about 60% go through our technology, which is inside MTN. In fact, I think CWG is a core asset of Nigeria and should be protected, because if it stops for one day, I think there will be serious problem. But why do we have these numbers? Because it's the most preferred. Anybody wants to buy a banking application, says go and buy Finacle. And it's not because of the application, it's because of the person who is selling and supporting it, which is CWG. So you have to have a vision which is inspiring, which is aspiring, and is simple for even the gatesman to understand. That's the only way you can have everybody aligned behind that vision. And so, yes, I set the vision. James run with the vision. Adewale Adeiko is running with the vision. And I think many generations more will do the same.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for, wow, you have to even understand the vision of your company. You need to, know it off heart. It has to be entrenched in your being so that your day-to-day activity can be aligned to the vision. Thank you very much, sir. I think for me, my final question, and I don't know, I think I'm asking for every other person here, and it's concerning ALA. It's interesting that when I posted, some persons reached out and was like, "Hey, ALA way," and then I said, "Okay." I think I don't want to be the last person here. I don't want to be the, already I've been given the honorary status of INEC chairman, so I should be part of ALA. So for everybody here, I'm also asking on behalf of everybody, how can we be part of ALA? The Also Leadership Academy, because we have a lot to learn.
I think if I wish something for the people that I love that want to go into business or that are in business, if I wanted to leave them something valuable, I'll not leave them money. I'll leave them the website of ALA, and I hope Gabriel can put it in the chat box. Because I know that if I leave them the website of ALA, long after my death, they will owe me a debt of gratitude. It's no-brainer, because ALA is set up for exactly that, to mentor business leaders and entrepreneurs. Why? Because if we mentor them to grow their business geometrically, they will employ more people, and therefore we'll have shared prosperity. My passion is about shared prosperity, and ALA is a way in which we pass the torch. A candle loses nothing by lighting other candles. So anybody who comes to ALA is a candle lit. You can never take out the light of that candle. And we expect that they will go and light other candles. So what do? We have two ways by which we impact people. One is through online. If you go to any social media and you type in ALA, you see a whole lot of knowledge that we have shared freely. There's no paywall. Come to the academy for our programs. The program that will be useful for young companies or SMEs or companies that are not sufficient to form a group is what we call the ALA Masterclass. So the Masterclass the Lion has attended the Masterclass before, and he was one of our star people where he's quiet. Maybe one day we'll post his interview. You will not leave the same way you went in. So even if you have to save your summer money and not travel to London to attend the ALA, do so, because you will not be the same person. When I was running my company and starting my company, I didn't have the benefit of ALA. But when I became an entrepreneur in Columbia Business School and in New York, some of the students that passed through the program will come and say, "Austin, thank you very much." And then I listed my business, I made $2 billion, and I'm like, boy. So this is what we are enabling people in America to do. Why don't I do the same back home? So that is the foundation of ALA. A lot of those businesses in America, they have very strong mentorship, such as ALA, but we don't have anything. It's different from MBA. MBA is good. You go and say, okay, I have this qualification, you get better chance of employment. But ALA is about your business, giving you clarity, alignment, focus, and execution of the vision, your missions that will give you the vision. So when a company starts, as I said, what is the purpose? Then what is the vision, the long-term plan? Then if there's a vision, how do I align everybody? What's my year one plan? And how do I check every quarter? So if you haven't come to ALA, I think our next program is in November. We used to do it every quarter, the open masterclass, but we're trying to see if we can come back to it. We left it for 3. The last time we did anything in the open masterclass was 2023, before we did the one in May. And the reason is because the corporates, they just, take our time. They just want us. And I told them, we set up ALA not for corporates. Corporates should go to McKinsey. They say, Austin, if you don't help us, all those people that we give business to, do you think they will get business? Help us so that we'll give them business. So we spend a whole lot of time with the corporates. But now we're trying to eke out time to do the open masterclass still. So we have another one coming up in November, and I'll strongly urge you to avail yourself.
Thank you very much. I was literally taking notes. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to being part of ALA very soon, and I'm sure a lot of people are also looking forward to that. Thank you very much. It's so interesting that Dr. Raji, the lion, and I don't think the lion will go off my mouth. Start calling him the lion. Was a pivotal member staff at CWG and focus group at 10 now. He's following suit what CWG has done. You won't be surprised when we'll get listed very soon. Very soon. It took CWG 21 years. It's going to take focus group less than 21 years. You know how they say, you stand on the shoulders of people who have gone ahead of you, so you can see far.
I'm actually expecting it. It's not that I will be surprised. If it doesn't happen, then I'll be surprised. Because the lion has been in an environment, he saw it. We did it all together. We put everything together. So he knows the knowledge and he can. So if he doesn't do it, then I'll be surprised. But I won't be surprised if you do it. If he doesn't do it, then I'll be surprised.
All right.
But Anu, let me ask you, how do you know about ALA, by the way?
So one of those days, I was driving through Adebayo Dorothy, and I told Dr. Raji this, and then I saw ALA. At first, I thought it was AI Academy. I said, AI Academy already? Then I saw ALA. I said, okay, I need to do a search about those people. Something just, I was drawn to it. I said, I need to do a search. So I did a search. I was like, oh, so it's an academy. I told Dr. Raji that I was going to research. And then this webinar series came up, and it was Mr. Austin Okere, founder of ALA. I told him that this is such a huge surprise. I don't think this is a coincidence because I was drawn to it. I'd done my research on it, and I said, okay, one day I would go there and go and do my, inquiries. And then now we're having you. So thousands about ALA.
Thank you very much, INEC Chairman. You have distinguished yourself.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. All right. Dr. Raji is right here, and then we're going to have him say one or two things. We're going to unmute you, sir, and also, turn your camera, to say one or two things before we close the curtains. I don't know if the CEO is on the call. All right, sir.
Good afternoon, sir, and then good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me, and I hope you can see me.
Yes, we can see you, sir.
But it's very, very nice to have, we call him AO. So for those of you who don't know, and we also call him the Grandmaster. So those of you who don't know where we are coming from, we have a Grandmaster. Now you probably know. You can only know who the Grandmaster is. And then I want to thank him very much. It's so exciting, so nice to have him again today with us. I mean, I went to ALA, ALA, from a very first cohort. And I mean, at that time too, we were also starting focus group. We're just putting things together, and it was a fantastic time. I mean, a lot of things that we learned. I still have a lot of those resources. I have my notebook. I have all the presentation slides. I don't know whether they give it out again, but in those days we are privileged. We got everything. People came from all over the world to train us at the first cohort of the ALA Academy. And it was so great. And everything has worked. Every single thing that I learned have worked because I've put them to practice and we have seen them work. And this is also in addition to, several years of baptism that we have in CWG. If you go to CWG, it's a baptism. It's not it's not another company. Anywhere we go, once they hear CWG, everybody is panicking. They have come again. They have come again. Everybody is panicking. Even in Ghana, we enter Ghana and the whole Ghana rose up against us. The whole Ghana, they have come again. We have to use his Ghanaian, what do you call it, with Ghanaian background to then soften the ground. Say, we are your children. I mean, our founder is also a Ghanaian, So it's a baptism in CWG, and none of us who go through it can ever forget it. So thank you very much. I'm sure you have seen a snippet of it today. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm happy that you are going to ALA too. You will then begin to understand by the time you go to ALA and come back, you will tell the story better than I do. So thank you very much, sir. Very, very grateful to have you. We are always following behind you, standing on your shoulder and making you proud everywhere we go. And that's the goal. That's the goal. We are light, like you have lifted us, and then we are lighting so many other people. And never forget the source. So there's nothing more to say. Just to show my appreciation, to show my gratitude, and to say that there's still many more to learn. There's still many more to learn. We thought that after CWG we are going to retire. We didn't know that it was going to be a stepping stone to another higher level. All of us are thinking we'll be in the Bahamas by now. But you are still here, teaching so many people. We are very grateful. And if we are not tired, some of us cannot be tired. You can see Simon also back on the scene. So we have all refused to be tired. So thank you very much. I'm really very grateful for this time. Thank you, Anu, for the coordination.
Thank you very much. Please don't just leave your camera on. Mr. Simon, okay. I don't know if Mr. Simon is there. Please, can you enable Mr. Simon's microphone? Mr. Simon? Please enable his microphone. I want to believe he's on the call. Is it enabled now? All right. Mr. Simon, are you there, sir? Mr. Simon?
You need to unmute yourself.
Can you unmute yourself, sir? All right. You can go on, sir.
Yes, I'm here. I'm excited to see AO, like Raji have said. And he has refused to be tired, and he has refused to retire. He said a story about Raji remaining in the customer site. There's a part he didn't tell you, but we'll leave it to the three of us to keep.
At least, sir, you have to tell us. You have to tell us, sir.
Let him tell you. There's a part he didn't tell you.
All right, sir.
But we thank you. We are so excited. This is the grandmaster. I'm sure you are. I know you can attest to that.
I cannot. I'm privileged to meet.
Now, when Raji push, you will notice that we are not even touching. You know where we learned it from. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are excited to see you, and we appreciate this presence.
Thank you very much, Mr. Simon. Yes. Thank you very much. All right. I think one last thing, and I want Mr. Austin to give us his promise that we'd see him at the 10th anniversary, physically, August 17th, 2026.
You see, when the INEC chairman summons you, how do you say you will not go? I tell you, I'll be in the UK, but I will come. I'll buy a ticket and come for the 10th anniversary. I will come.
Thank you.
17th of August. Raji, just remind me a day to. No, not a day. Remind me maybe 3 days to. I will come for your. I'll come for your.
No,
Thank you very much.
not 3 days, Raju. We'll remind him every week.
All right, we'll do that. Thank you very much. It's time for us to take a quick photograph. Dr. Raji, are you ready? Mr. Austin,
yes, I am.
I'm also ready. Mr. Simon, just that your background is, would, you know, I thought you
light.
Yeah, we can see him now.
All right, we can see you now.
Can you see me now?
Yes, we can see you now.
Yes.
All right, yeah. So, technical, are you ready for this? Are you ready? Technical, 1, 2, go. Say cheese, everyone. Technical. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. We all do, and we're looking forward to meeting you physically come August 17th, 2026. And of course, ALE we will be there. Thank you all, everybody. Say thank you to Mr. Austin Okere.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Say thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Gabriel. Thank you for your assistance. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, sir. Thank you. All right. Can we have the adverts? Focus group at 10, everybody.
Welcome to Focus Group Limited webinar series, and here are the news headlines.
Interesting.
Focus Group Limited continues its webinar series.
Thank you all for joining, everyone, from wherever you joined from. Thank you all for joining, and see you at the next webinar. Thank you. MD has his hands up. Sir. Dr. Raji, sir.
No. Sorry, it was a mistake.
Oh, okay. All right. The advert, please.
Series with episode 5. Focus Group Limited set to launch Workplace Pay. Focus Group Limited set to launch Kira Study App. Focus Group celebrates a significant 10 years with its anniversary dinner set to hold. Kira University Hackathon is confirmed to take place as part of the app launch. Focus Group is hosting a friendly football match in celebration of its 10 years anniversary. Let's get into it. Here's what's happening at Focus Group Limited. Focus Group Limited's 8-part webinar series continues with episode 5. Building a technology culture without a technology background. Currently underway, the session brings together industry leaders and professionals to